As someone who helps people develop their message and their elevator pitch, please don't use your elevator pitch wherever you go. It's probably not the right time or place. What you need to do first. Welcome to the Brand Bridge, the podcast that's all about branding, entrepreneurship, faith, mindset, all the things that you need to build a compromise-free brand. My name is Melissa, and I am the host of the Brand Bridge. And today we are going to be talking about Gen Z entrepreneurship, what young founders are doing differently. So I'm going to start with a little story. So I was at a baby baptism a few months ago. And here's a quick tip. When you are somewhere and somebody asks you what you do, we want to go to our elevator pitch, right? Immediately we're like, I got to say my elevator pitch, this 30-second thing that says, I help people, da, 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 or, when, the problem awareness, like blah, 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 the whole thing. I say, don't do that. As someone who helps people develop their message and their elevator pitch, please don't use your elevator pitch wherever you go. It's probably not the right time or place. What you need to do first, even if you do want to use your elevator pitch, even if you are at a networking event, please don't just bust out your elevator pitch like that. People want to just have a conversation. They just want to get to know you. And before you bring out your pitch, you have to know, are people even interested about learning about what you do? Maybe they don't even care. Maybe they don't need your services at all. So for you to just say your whole pitch is a waste of your time, it's a waste of their time, and it's just not fun. It's not a great way to start a conversation. So let me just put that on Front Street. And maybe I'll do a whole episode about elevator pitches. Let me know. Send me an email, put a comment, and let me know. Do you want me to do a podcast about how to create and deliver an elevator pitch? Back to the story. So I was at a baby baptism, and this young man, I didn't know anybody. I knew the godmother, but she was obviously busy with the baptism. And they were setting things up. And so I was waiting, and there was a young man there. And he saw me just, standing and looking and observing, and I was by myself. So he was kind enough. He came over. He was about, I'd say 20 years old. He came over and started making small talk. How are you? Who do you know here? It's a beautiful day out, all that kind of stuff. And then he asked me what I did. So I just simply said, I'm in marketing. And he said, specifically what in marketing? So I said, I do branding, personal branding and marketing. And he said, okay, you're in personal branding. What kind of clients do you work with? And so once he said that, I knew, okay, he knows something about marketing. He knows something about branding. Because usually when you say stuff like that, people just are like, okay, cool. And that's the end of that chapter. But he kept asking me questions. So I just let him know who I work with, and I do personal branding. I help women understand what their message is, how to show up online, and what to say in their marketing, things like that. And he said that he is wanting to start his business, and he's starting on the side. He's still in school. He works part-time somewhere else, but he wants to start his business. And his business is he wants to be an ads specialist. And so I just, asked him more about that. And he systematically outlined his whole business plan to me within the matter of about 30 seconds of how he's going to start, who he's going to start working with, who he wants to pitch to, how his system is going to be in terms of how he gets paid, and he had everything outlined, and I was just astonished. I was so impressed with the amount of detail that he knew how his plan was going to be, how his financials were going to work, how he was going to deliver, what the relationship needed to be. And then he also said, and my generation, we know how important personal branding is. So that's why I was asking you all, because he was asking me a whole bunch of questions about personal branding and what would you tell a client this and how would you help a client do that. And he asked me so many questions. And he said that his generation understands he needs to build a personal brand in order for his business to be where he wants it to be. And he said, yeah, my generation really understands that. And your generation, not so much, because you're thinking about other things and you have mortgages and families and all of this stuff. And I just thought that it was really interesting, his perspective, first of all, and the fact that he is, even at his young age, and he's just starting, he is so clear on what he wants to do, where he wants to go, how it's going to look, and that he knows his personal brand has to be a piece of that puzzle in order for him to get to where he wants to be. And so I really appreciated his outlook and his openness to also share with me what and how he sees business. So that's the thing about Gen Z and their entrepreneurship. He also mentioned this too, and it's something that is true. He said to me, like I just mentioned, that, your generation is thinking about mortgage, about the kids, about this and that. And he said, our generation is free. We're living at home. We have no expenses. We might be working part-time, but we can go all in on our business. And I just really thought that that was interesting. And it's so true. Their generation is free in the sense of they don't have any major responsibilities. They're not thinking about, if I start my business, can I pay my bills? Or is my mortgage going to be paid? And all of these things. So he really had the time and he really saw the big picture of what he needed to do. And so I really, as a brand strategist, of course, I was so taken aback that he highlighted that as one of the key things that he needs to do. And his generation, he even spoke for his whole generation, that they know they need to do that. Whereas my generation is only playing catch up. And I just thought that was really interesting. The thing that Gen Z is doing differently is they're really at the point where they're understanding I can take a risk. They're at the point of knowing I can go all in. And they're really understanding and trying to understand the business side of, what does my business look like? What are the strategies and the plans and all the things that I have to implement in my business for it to be successful sooner than later? And it was just really cool to see how he's fired up, how he's passionate about what he's doing, and that he really took the time to outline how his business was going to be, timelines, finances, how he was going to have people invest in him. Everything was completely outlined. And I just really, really appreciate that. And I think that Gen Z, because they're living in this, they're growing, first of all, they're growing up in this digital world, in this AI world. This is all they know. All they know is about personal brands, YouTube, how to make connections, how to use technology to their advantage. And they're not freaked out about it. They just use it and that's it. And they understand that there's different ways to use technology to their advantage while still being authentic, while still showing their personality, because he also understood that too, that he needs to show, the reason he needs a personal brand is because he needs people to trust him. He knows he can build authority. He knows he can build trust with the fact that when people know me and they trust me, they're going to get on board with what I'm doing. And so that was the thing that they're doing differently, that we do differently. We kind of start with, well, what is my offer? What is it that I'm selling? And then you work backwards from there. Where Gen Z, their mentality is, okay, no, they need to trust me. I need to be trusted. because they know that when they watch certain things, even my kids, they're Gen Alpha, they're looking, even they look outside. My daughter was snowing the other day and she's like, oh, it looks like fake. It looks like AI. Even the beauty of nature is so beautiful that they can't even believe it with their own eyes. But they know, and they are exposed to so many things. So just to see that he was like, no, I need to be genuine. I need to build my personal brand intentionally so that people can trust me, so that when I bring my offer, they're like, yeah, we trust you. So here's my money. Put my ads where my ads need to be. So I really thought that that was really interesting. And it's something that we all can learn from too. And something that is my message as well is about your mission and your vision. And when people can see you're real, you're authentic, you're raw, and people trust you, then they're going to be able to hop on board with the things that you are doing. They're gonna buy in to what you're doing, to your offer, to the things that you are wanting to sell, to the things that you want, how you wanna support people, how you wanna help people. They're gonna see your heart. They're gonna see, wow, she's really called to this. She's really walking in her purpose, and they're gonna trust you, and then they're gonna buy from you. So that's the importance of building a personal brand in this day and age, to be real, to be raw, to be authentic, because people are smart. This younger generation that's coming up, who are starting to build businesses at like 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, they already understand this. So we should also understand this and adopt that mentality, because we do want to build relationships. We do want people to trust us. We do want people to know that we have integrity and we are coming with a solution that they need, and we want to provide this solution for them. We want to help them get to wherever they need to be with the solution that we have. And so I think that that's something we can learn from the younger generation, that they are not fazed by any kind of technology that comes out. They know they can use it to their advantage. They are not fazed by the fact that they know that they have to build their personal brand so people trust them, so that when they do sell something, people already trust them and will buy it. And so those are two key things, huge things, that we can learn from Gen Z in this booming entrepreneurial journey that a lot of them are on. And we might have said, oh, they all want to be YouTubers, they all want to be this, and they all want to be that, but they're going for it. They're trying. They are just throwing everything at it. And of course, I'm not saying that if you have mortgage and you have kids and you have all of this, just to be, I'm not saying be silly and do things that you don't have the capacity to do. You always have to move in the capacity that you have at any given moment, the energy, the resources, whatever it is that you have. But you can be really intentional. This is what we should learn from them, is that we should be intentional with the things that we have, the resources that we have, the opportunities that we have. And we can just show ourselves to be trustworthy, to be full of integrity, because at the end of the day, that we do have the capacity to do. That is and should be a key thing in our business plan, is how do we get people to trust us, to know us? How do we build authority? How do we get the visibility to the right people, to the right audience, so that we can make the impact that we are here to make? So thank you so much for joining. If you have any comments, if you have anything that you want to ask, please leave a comment, send an email, and I would be happy to continue the conversation. And so I really hope that you just learn to live with heart, lead with purpose, and do both, compromise free. Until next time, bye.